something that the New York Post reported today, which I don't know how much to trust. Already, there's something about it that seems unlikely to me, but I'd like to get your take on it.
Do you want to
How
explain? Do you
is
want to
this?
explain?
Yeah, so I'll say what it is. So the gist is that they're talking about there is agreement supposedly to get rid of the uranium. Then it's just a question of how to do it and several options. The ideal one for the US is that it would be transferred to the US directly. But an official involved with the matter said, quote, "We are trying to land on language that allows both sides to save face, and that's how deals like this are done. The president would still ideally like it to eventually wind up in the United States, but there are interim options being discussed as well, and they could turn into permanent options. For example, giving it to China and then having China give it." So it says Pakistan, Turkey, Russia, or China as potential intermediary places where they could end up putting the uranium, which is supposedly supposed to go to the US after that. And then a second option under discussion, which I really doubt this one, would allow Iran to heavily dilute and keep the uranium under the theory that its refinement facilities are so badly damaged by Operation Epic Fury that further enrichment would be impossible without detection. The dilution option would require strict international oversight, which itself would be subject to additional negotiations. And the summary is this is one of the things that is going to be worked out in the second track, meaning after, so you have the MOU, and then you start talking about this. I don't think they want to hand it over, and the biggest thing is they don't want to hand it over to the United States. Is there anything more else that's important? And the White House denied basically everything that the report says, for the record. So a lot. Okay, so the one important quote: "A lot of the debate is not really what happens to the stockpiled material, but it's how the Iranians can sell it to their own hardliners and to their own population in a way that gets us what we need as well. No one disputes that the stockpiled enriched material will be disposed of. It's a question about how." Yeah, that's basically
How
it.
reliable
So
is reliable is where is this? The New York Post, by the way.
New York Post.
How reliable?
I'm not entirely sure that they're like super reliable, and especially with these things, we've seen reliable sources become unreliable. But New York Post did report the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020. They were the first ones to do that, and then the FBI denied it, and then turned out to be true, for what that's worth. But it's hard to say. I think they're generally reliable enough, but with these negotiations, we've seen a lot of bad information come out, even on reliable sources.
So here
So
I
I would
made a.
ask, what do you think about it?
Yeah. Here, let me actually read the summary of it, and also what they providing as evidence. Okay, so the two face-saving options. By the way, I want to add that the whole idea of people talking about when they need the Islamic Republic would only accept a face-saving options demonstrates something that we have been talking about for so many years, and now people are understanding that how important the regime's standing among its followers is essential for its survival, right? The fact that the Islamic Republic would not agree to anything that would make it lose face to its followers, it shows that from their perspective, that is more important for their survival than stopping American and Israeli attacks. If they have to choose between more Israeli attacks, more American attacks, by keeping face, basically keeping their legitimacy between among their followers, or the other way around, they would be like, yeah, keep bombing us. We're not gonna. And it shows that the Islamic Republic understands that this is the very last pillar of their foundations, and if they lose that, the whole thing will come collapsing. And with that understanding, this is the Islamic Republic communicating to you their weakness. And this is why I keep telling you guys that humiliation is a bigger weapon against the Islamic Republic than missiles, right? And even than assassinations. And the Islamic Republic is admitting that by choosing this, by choosing to insist on saving face, right? They know themselves what keeps them alive, and their highest priority is to keep the Islamic Republic going. And by them communicating with their weakness to you by these choices also demonstrates what is the greatest weapon for us to make the whole thing crumbling down, right? So psychological warfare and information warfare should be a major part of our war against the Islamic Republic. And this is actually very easy to enter, and that means every single one of you here can be part of this fight. It's easy to be a soldier in this fight because that is the greatest weapon we have against the Islamic Republic. So let me go over what you just said. So the two face saving options to avoid the political embarrassment of Iran directly handling its highly enriched uranium to the United States. Officials are considering two workarounds. Basically, a third party. This is according to the New York Post, by the way. A third party transfer. That's one. Iran temporarily or permanently sends the uranium to a neutral third country like Pakistan, which is not neutral, Turkey, which is not neutral, Russia, that is not neutral, and China, that is not neutral. It's interesting, like a third party neutral country, and every single example that they give is not a neutral country. What the fuck is this list? So that's number one. Or two, dilute and monitor in place. Iran keeps the uranium but heavily dilutes it under extreme international oversight, assuming Operation Epic Fury degraded their facilities too much to re-enrich. That's a wrong assumption. If they have other facilities in other places, and we know, and even if they didn't, they know how to build them. So that would not be a solution. And also, this is a very they might be able to deny this to their own followers, right? So fuck this option completely if they're considering that. We know the Islamic Republic has other ways, secret places that they're enriching uranium, right? So current status: the U.S. maintains a strict no dust, no dollars policy, meaning no sanctions relief without verifiable disposal. A phase one deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz could be imminent, but the nuclear disposal remains a tough phase two hurdle. By the way, you know what people don't forget every time they're discussing these things, and they should not forget that, other than forgetting the Iranian people, which they do often, another thing they forget often is Israel. As if Israel is going to be like, yeah, okay, let's not talk about the missiles, let's not talk about the proxies. Sure, I'm not going to attack Hezbollah for a deal that I'm not even in the middle of. Two countries will make a deal deciding that I'm not going to attack Hezbollah, and I'm just going to be like, sure, why not? Let me not attack a threat to my national security because you two made a deal. Yeah, so that's not going to happen. For okay, so and Israel, like we know, Israel will continue attacking the Islamic Republic, whatever deal people sign. And I think like it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this is just a joke, right? Nobody should take any of this seriously. I don't know. Even if they try to sign a deal like that, it will fall apart. It will fall apart. It will fall apart. I don't know. Um how is the Hamas deal working out, right? Like we have continued uh conflict with Hamas after that. Like I think but even if we ever get a deal like this, it will just delay the war to another time. It will never stop it. The conflict will continue. But the only thing that stops the conflict with the Islamic Republic is the end of the Islamic Republic. So also regarding where if these what the sources are, so a New York Post so they're saying that the New York Post cited anonymous national security officials who leaked the two options. And then we say President Trump. So I'm not saying where they denied it. Report on troop social stating that uranium was, so it says.
It said look up White House. The words White House is the White House representative or something like that denied it.
Okay, all right, that's good. And also the New York Post is a major widely read publication. Independent media watchdogs generally classify it as a tabloid with significant reliability issues. So I could go over the details for why they don't consider it a reliable source. I have a list of like media bias, fact checking records, and on media bias charts. I'm not going to go through the list of the reasons for why it's not considered a reliable source, but just to know that media watchdogs consider New York Post to be a tabloid.
So Let me rephrase the core of my question. Do you think that there is some way to triangulate things where the Islamic Republic would agree to something that America would also agree to with regards to the uranium, which would mean the end of the war?
It would, and no, delay the war, maybe end of the war, no. It would just, if maybe very, it is possible that they will come up with something that would just kick the can down the road, but nothing will end the war with the Islamic Republic other than ending the Islamic Republic. Nothing will end the war with the Islamic Republic other than ending the Islamic Republic.
Okay, to respond to that, we've got a couple on the list. First up is Sketch.
Okay, I think this is a good discussion topic for the same reason that the unconfirmed clashes is a good topic to discuss. It's out there, it's being talked about. Do we trust the New York Post? No, but it's something that's in the air, in being in conversation. And that's why I believe it's good to bring it up, because we have to answer if we're doing this media thing where we're being like the media warriors, getting our ducks in a row as far as how we brainstorm what's going on here. I believe it's a good topic to discuss. As to China, I wouldn't trust China to not just pull it out and give it to the IRGC and say they took it out. I would calling these. I like what you said about that list. How can you call this a list of unbiased third parties when these are like first party? They're like have been in with these people from the start or have been friendly to them. And I don't believe there's any way that we would accept this. I don't believe any of those third parties would be acceptable to the US as, yeah, sure, no, I gave it to these other guys. I don't got it. You don't got to check. You just ask them. Just ask China. I don't think that's going to be acceptable. But I would like to support Guy in the sense that even if we don't really trust any newspaper, but we got to discuss this stuff because it's stuff that's out there being talked about. So I think it's a good topic. Do I agree with what it states? No, I don't believe any of those things would be acceptable. And I believe it's just like feelers. You say that the IRGC likes to put out feelers and kind of fake news to see what kind of floats and what sinks. I think this one is a sinker.
Yeah. I think, I know a lot of people exaggerate the level of influence Israel has over US politics. So sometimes you have to be careful with saying this, but Israel does have its influence. I think the influence of USA on Israel politics is actually more, unfortunately. But Israel is not, I know people make it a bigger, like, so the anti Jew haters make it seem like America is a puppet of Israel. So that's retarded. But it is true that Israel has, as an ally of United States, as the best ally of United States, influence over US politics. And they're not, let me tell you something interesting, actually. United States have even would try to hide some information even from its greatest allies, right? No country is going to share every intelligence with other countries, even its closer allies. They're going to keep something. So United States would love to even keep some intelligence information that they have over the Islamic Republic, even secret from the Israelis. But the interesting thing is that they can't, because when the Americans are talking to the Islamic Republic, even if they completely seal all the information from the American side, the Israelis get the information from the Iranian side. A lot of times the Americans, when they're talking to the Islamic Republic to negotiate with them, they're actually sometimes talking to Israeli agents in the negotiations, right? That's how much Israel is in the Islamic Republic. And the Americans sometimes get surprised about what the fuck, like, how did Israel figure this out? And that's why Israel usually jumps in and gets politically involved every time they think that maybe the Americans are making a mistake. And they all of a sudden put political pressure in Washington, D.C. to try to steer things in the right direction, even if it was information that the Americans had that they didn't share with the Israelis. They sometimes get surprised that the Israelis actually figured that out without even sharing, because it's just the Islamic Republic is just filled with Israeli Mossad agents in at the highest levels.
Okay, next to respond, we have Sophie.
My opinion is everything in this article is awesome for us. So I would suggest reframing it in your mind. So first we go with the White House, the press secretary assistant or principal deputy press secretary, Anna Kelly, saying anything attributed to unnamed, anonymous, and uninformed sources who are not part of the inner circle, who actually know what's going on, should be considered baseless speculation. All announcements regarding a potential deal will come from the president or administration directly. Unquote. I see no reason we shouldn't trust Trump and the Secretary of State and everybody else. They've been completely very transparent about it. They have no problem. And they also have no problem having all of these. Sure, we'll talk about anything. We'll hear what you are asking for. That doesn't mean we're going to do it. None of those countries, I think, are acceptable. But also look at it in a positive way. All those countries are going to be busy jockeying for position. What do you mean? Aren't we your ally? We're Pakistan. We're Turkey. Aren't we good enough? Wait, you don't trust us with this? It's going to get destroyed either there or in getting to the US. It's going to have witnesses. We've got a really nice statement officially from President Trump right after this. And you guys can even have a little bit of LOL fun with this article, because when they talk about a senior official and they're saying shortly after this article was published, Trump effectively confirmed the Post reporting in a social media post. And then later they say the senior official said Iran had, quote, national pride considerations at play. You know who also has pride considerations at play? The New York Post. They want to say that their article, somebody backed our article. Yeah, it's face saving. Notice the differences in what President Trump, what actually was stated in his social media. Again, that it will be brought home and destroyed, or I'm reading, quoting, skipping into the quote, or preferably in conjunction with and coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Fine, no problem. We're doing stuff with them. We're getting it destroyed. And then he says, destroyed in a place or at another acceptable location with the Atomic Energy Commission or its equivalent being witnesses of the process and event. What problem do any of us have with any of that? Sounds good to me. I'm just saying, I don't see any problem with any of this being discussed. Low-level people saying things are being floated around. I think Trump is fine hearing people out saying face saving, how do they sell it to their people? It's probably even entertaining, actually, on the US side to listen to this stuff. Their problem. But I'm not worried about it. I don't think anybody should be.
So the reason why some Iranians might be worried is, again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but from the perspective of the Iranian, if so, the Americans want to get rid of the enriched uranium, and from the Iranian perspective, they want the embarrassment for the Islamic Republic because that hurts the Islamic Republic, right? So there is a way to get. So they think that there is a way for the Americans to get what they want, but that the Iranians to get what they want, right? Because if, from an American perspective, what they think is that if you could get rid of the enriched uranium, that's all. That's what the Americans want. The Americans are not necessarily want to get rid of their uranium in a way that humiliates the Islamic Republic. They just want to get rid of the enriched uranium. But from an Iranian perspective, they want this to be done in a humiliating way so that the regime gets fractured and loses legitimacy if they get rid of the enriched uranium. So from our perspective, that we are like more motivated by the regime being toppled, the humiliation is the point. From the American perspective, getting rid of the enriched uranium is the main point.
I think that Trump and the US administration will provide us all full witness to humiliation for them. But they can float all kinds of ideas. It's going to get destroyed. There'll be a lot of witnesses. It'll be destroyed either there or US or some place that we like, but they'll get humiliated. I really just want to trust in that. I didn't mean to discount Iranian fears or worries about that.
No, I wasn't suggesting that you were. I was just trying to provide context. Look, I appreciated everything you said, for sure. Yeah. And also humiliation, just to be clear what I'm saying, not humiliation to us because they're already humiliated, not humiliated globally. We're talking about levels of humiliation that is so apparent that is humiliated to their followers. That's the humiliation we need, because they're already humiliated from our perspective, like they've been pathetic, right? But we need a level of humiliation. Oh, I forgot to show. Okay, yeah, I'll show it in the next show on Iran Revolution Live, some humiliations. But yeah, I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. Okay. Oh, is BT here? Okay,
I
I'm gonna
don't
read.
think so. I know that Jeffrey wanted to respond as well. I don't know if anyone else did.
Yeah, okay, Jeffrey, go ahead.
Yeah, you guys touched on all the points I was going to bring up, which is to Armin's point. So proud of you, getting so developing so quickly. I love that. So even if you eliminate the fucking dust, or it doesn't mean that the Mueller regime won't pursue other avenues to obtain WMDs. Right? Even if you get rid of the dust, the Mueller regime has to go. What if they do China? Well, you're right on the money, right? It's not just that China will take it, maybe give it back to maybe the Chinese Communist Party goes, yeah, they'll take the dust, and in return they'll just give them whole turnkey weapon systems, right? So I very much appreciate the fact that you made a point to reiterate that, Armin, because that illustrates in no uncertain detail that if the goal is to ensure the Mullah regime never gets a nuclear weapon, or any WMD for that matter, the Mullah regime has to fucking die. Period.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I wasn't ready to take over. My mistake. Okay, guys, next on the list, he wants to talk about giving up uranium.
So I'm gonna
No,
read
so the number 2.
Yeah, let me just
Okay,
do.
I'll do 2 pets and then I'll do the
Yeah,
follow-up.
and also a message from Iran, Ali, because guys, because the internet is back in Iran, so if I see messages from Iran, I'm gonna read them as well. Ali is my friend. I know him. He's saying internet کم کم وصل شد به نظرم وقتش لایو بذاریم. So Ali is saying internet is getting connected. I think it's time for you to put live shows in Persian, Armin. I will. Ali حتما دارم برنامه‌ریزی میکنم. میام تو دیسکورد باهاتون درباره زمانش هم صحبت میکنم. Thank you, Ali. And then we have Ida. Thank you so much for the super chat. Ida saying, said Guy. Oh, Guy, that was to you. Thank you for sharing your feelings. Yes. Thank you, Guy. That was very powerful. Thank you. We appreciate you, Guy. Guys, let me just tell you one thing I have been saying for years on the Persian channel before any of this started. And I can't wait to go back to the Persian channel to basically say, guys, I told you so for 5 fucking years. I've told you so. I was right about this. Is that Israel is our ally. Israel, we Iranian people, United States is also our ally as well. But Israel is in the neighborhood, right? And we have been our ancient bond. We share the same enemy. We're fighting the same enemy in the same neighborhood. A lot of people didn't understand why I was dedicating so much of my shows to explain to the Iranian people why we need to keep working on our friendship with Israelis. And people were like, yeah, Army, we know Israel is good and is the Palestinian cause is bullshit, whatever. We know that, but why are you so obsessed over this? It's unhealthy. You have an unhealthy obsession with creating this bridge between the two countries, right? And at some point, you guys will see one day how important this connection is, right? And then, and I know, and now we see that, and now they are like many Iranians are saying it louder than I am. Like, I used to be seen as this radical over this topic, and now I'm seen as a moderate, not radical enough on this topic. Like, people have passed me. Most Iranians who are anti-regime have passed my position over this how aggressive they are with the pro-Israeli position, and over how much we appreciate Israel and how the bond between Iran and Israel is important. It's like crazy. People think that I'm not aggressive enough anymore over this topic. And the claim is now by most Iranians who are anti-regime is that nobody gets us more than Israelis do. Nobody in the world, nobody understands us better than Israelis do. So just wanted to give you context over there. And then Sarah with the super chat. Thank you so much, Sarah, saying Arborizi of IRGC, please translate. Okay, so Arborizi means losing face, embarrassment, basically. So actually, Arborizi, it actually means losing face, because Arboru is like basically you're losing your face. It actually literally translates to losing face, okay, in Persian. So yeah, exactly. So IRGC, losing face, that's what it means. My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.